you are only 3D, then God takes all of your multidimensional powers. Howdy, humanoids, family, friends, and enemies. Today we are gathered here to learn to discern the truth and attempt to ideally live within it ultimately, and that means reckoning with the fact that humans once and now again can and will inhabit a multi-dimensional reality. No one's coming to rescue you. Only the great, holy, sacred self of the Christ within. The real self. The real gods. Only the Holy Ghost within can save. If you're only 3D, God takes all of your multidimensional powers. Where did they go? Why is it that I cannot levitate? Remote view. Folks, I've told the truth about this in many videos, but once again, fallen angels over the last million years have tried to design the perfect slave and cyborg slave. And so the truth is that the fact is that we ultimately must reckon with the fact that humans are once and now will be again, become, and can and will inhabit a multi-dimensional reality. We interact with all kinds of life forms, both etheric and physical. And yeah, entities can get into your aura and manipulate you. Archons can keep you stuck in a cycle of flunking out of your spiritual class forever if you obey their pathetic, derogatory voices they constantly beam into the human race. So entities can get into your aura and manipulate you into remaining stuck in a perpetual loose drip system we call the energy extraction matrix, siphoning system, Saturn moon matrix, memory wipe system. Yet we are told we were given free will. You're given free will as long as you are completely, or at least about 96% harmless. But the more harm you cause others, and especially that you don't need, in other words, killing animals to survive is one thing, killing animals for profit is another thing. The more harm we cause to others, the more it comes back. But see, our brains were redesigned by the fallen ones to need cholesterol, like I say, so it didn't begin this way. I mean, we were probably all vegans at least 2 to 2.5 million years ago before the Anunnaki came here and started tinkering with us and other races. Once before the Anunnaki's deception matrix was slowly and persistently established through wars, secret societies, black magic money systems, religions, governments, and now WEF and the SDC, we've seen this AI rise to attempt to take over of the entire globe with the Humans 2.0 experiment and also the self-replicating nanotech and graphene dioxide colonies sprayed into the smart dust space fence atmospheric river mystery cloud. Now they call them mystery clouds, which have been used to steer the agenda of smart cities often lately. The SDC geoengineering and big mad scientist experiment could never have taken place if humans knew their original and future place in the multiverse. In other words, if humans knew their real lot in life in the original days and in the future, then none of this shit filth fake or fatal. None of this fatal fate would be forced. Or perhaps if some of them wake up now, they can change it. What is the human race, former and future place in the multiverse? For we are powerful energy beings. As Dr. Amir calls us, the mighty humans, junior gods ourselves in the making, even if we're really awakening. And again, under the one of the several laws of this planet, which is non-interference, which is non-harm, the law of non-interference. You are not allowed to harm anyone else, including their psyche, and if you do, it constitutes a crime. So, because that's the law of this planet, each spirit fragment, whether they're retarded or genius or enlightened, are given free will, and that's why, again, you have to use fake informed consent in all these mind control operations and nanotech and hide the warfare. Because human race, these junior god beings ourselves, originally fashioned in the divine form of Christ Sophia, the divine feminine original creator of this species before the DNA unplugging and tinkering, and before the addition of perhaps the Syrian or the Anunnaki genetics. The need for cholesterol, the need for vampirism in the human race did not exist 2 million years ago. If maybe it did, in a tiny amount of the people who were sick, but doubtful. So, but since we have the law of free will for all beings on this planet, the human race and Sophia's weakness was the creation of the demiurge, the idea that she didn't need the divine male council is the Gnostic story, whereas I take it in the opposite sense, is that I take it as the opposite, because the stories get mixed up over the centuries of obfuscation. And, Loser 4 either got her one of her eggs or her DNA and created us, or the modern human form, through splicing and dicing his own horrible narcissist experiments into the human DNA, which was already a divine. Because, again, they thought we would be the perfect slave race, perfect miners. So thank you, Mr. Miner. So over the centuries, over the last 1.5 years, this divine form of Christ Sophia was allowed to be buried psychically and psychologically, imprisoned into these flesh suits where we think we're all our little stupid little me egos in their memory wiped, soul-sucking human farm planet. When you were born, you thought you were Janet Doe. Okay, this is the mind control programming we've had, folks. You are your name, you are your address. The Elohim down the years from the chosen ones. They've really always reinforced. You are the age of your body. You are your name. Okay. You are your sexual identification. So, anyways. When you were born, you thought you were Janet Doe, Mr. or Ms. such and such, or this or that certain address. In other words, as a little small child, if you were from a normie family, you were brainwashed into thinking that you are only this one little flesh suit, this one little mind that is not allowed to communicate with other minds. And also the complete proven lie by the psychiatrist Jerry Marzinski with his work in mental institutions, that all those thoughts are coming from you. You made up all those derogatory, violent thoughts. Complete lie. So it's the archonic forces of darkness trying to suck your energy out or make you do harm and get some more energy for their little stupid, for their imposition. So welcome to the front lines of the greatest war ever, on this planet at least. I mean, it's not going to be. It is going to be hot war, like lasering down cities to make smart cities, or using direct energy weapons to steer hurricanes to drown out other cities. But what's very interesting to me is people said that Asheville had found lithium, the world's largest lithium deposits, right where the hurricane just happened to go, way in the middle of the country. And the fire that they just put out, it's not like Los Angeles. It wasn't to build a smart city or to burn down the evidence, but they lit a fire, or somehow a fire got lit in a lithium battery factory in Moss Landing here, and I was pretty well terrified. I was going to have to either wear an N95, move into a legal box and not leave it, or leave, because a man, a meditator who stays in his vehicle had me. He said it was an atomic energy factory, or I think he might be a little mentally unstable, but I'm not sure if burning a lithium is atomic. Maybe it's it's not nearly as bad, but it's always kind of scary. And then my friend said the wind, the Santa Ana winds, blew it up to Mount Madonna and the highlands, and so Saratoga, but not here. So I guess I'm lucky. So anyway, so you were forced at age 6 to, unless your parents were strong enough or able to do homeschooling, or you went to Waldorf school, you were forced to go to compulsory K through 12. 1 through 12, forced Rockefeller public school system. Okay, and you were taught and reinforced by compulsory Rockefeller school systems, doctors, religions, officials, police, and judges that you are your date of birth. Your DOB, or body, in reverse. How about that for an interesting phonetical lesson of explanation? If you believe that you only have one life and one chance, you are your DOB, your BOD. With the U.S. Social Security number system, somehow we are sold on some type of psychic currency exchange or some international energy exchange market. I don't know how it works. You can look that up. I haven't researched that facet to the whole plan so much. So we're taught we are three-dimensional flesh suits, tinkered with to age quickly, and because we live way too long. If we live long, we'd see through their fucking soul-sucking human farm scams, and we wouldn't. The elders who are 150 years old would make certain that their children and great-grandchildren wouldn't be disgusting narcissists or slaves for the elites. So, and then they confounded our tongues and created all the different languages so we wouldn't understand each other. So, as nice cattle for our extremely powerful, multidimensional, psychic, and etheric energy harvest masters, we can only be the sad or angry, selfish little me, ego, slave, whipped husband, or sycophant and Jezebel in any of these systems of psychic control, from the Abrahamic religions to the New Cage movement of hijacked, started by Madame Blavatsky, of the hijacked 5G, 5D. I mean, when one of my dear friends was reading me a pamphlet about how 5G was going to kill us all, especially folks like me with a little cancer, how was I to know that I would have finally caved after 20 years, just for my YouTube and to communicate with my friend L.E. I got a microwave, a cell phone, Android, and I'd spend maybe 5 or 7 hours learning psychology and disclosure and truths, other types of truths, and how to remote view online. But I will add the caveat that I really recommend, if anyone here is still listening to me at this point and you love my works, I've been really voraciously getting into the works of the Tree of Knowledge channel on YouTube, or Sonia Testerman, and she's an amazing remote viewer. I think she was abducted by aliens at birth from a military family, and I don't know, somehow they allowed her to tap in. She says she can remote view. I'm not saying I agree with everything she says, but at least about 96% of it is spot on fire with the truth. So, but the new cage movement is where we all get plugged back into the lovely God Borg. With no, Lucifer's Borg, with no self-differentiation or sovereignty, no choice aside from A, B, C, or D. If you're going to be a good slave and a good obedient person, you can choose A, B, C, or D. If you're someone like me who totally refused to obey at a certain point, you might have 0 options. But moving to the FEMA or the motel. Come with us, but here they come, speaking of them. But anyway, so I'm in their same neighborhood as Lockheed Martin. What do I expect? Well, not the same neighborhood, but the same county. So the thing that you really need to understand, don't stand under it, stand over it, overstand. Is that the geoengineering and the experiment were the final steps in the fallen angels' attempt to steal it all, and all these lasering down of cities to make smart cities, and on and on it goes. It's not over yet, but this next 10 years is the final stages of a takeover plan that's been going for over 1 million years. Since Lucifer's rebellion 1 million years ago, okay, they began this experiment. But the experiment on human free will, the experiment of humans being allowed sovereignty over, control over a little plot of this earth, to toil the soil and turn it into a garden paradise, that's been going a lot longer. So, and yes, I feel that the Anunnaki gave us animal husbandry, and since we needed cholesterol now, they showed us how to steal all these wonderful nutrients from the animals, and since we now needed them in our Syrian genetics. So yeah, the whole plan of the transhumanists, the technophiles, the 1% elites has always been, and also the Truth Meter channel, or Anne Marie, as well as another one I really love is Dark Mystic 9, or Lucy, and Sonia. All 3 of them claim they're remote viewers, and they claim that psychic readers, and they claim that the whole thing is a hologram and a computer program, that we're in a computer program, this whole thing. Now, what do you think about that? So, again, the dark side, the fake rulers, the fake controllers, the fake gods, the elites, the 1% robber barons, these officiales at the college over here, they all want us all to get plugged back into the divine 5G, 5D, where we all get plugged back into the lovely God Borg with no self-differentiation or sovereignty, no choice aside from what they say, for whether it's God the Father, Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, or channelers channeling, often dark ETs, pretending to be good to control. It's the same principle. We see the same principle over and over again. Hegelian logic, problem, reaction, solution, all the way from the false father gods to the religions, the governments, to the scientism death cult. We see the same thing over and over and over. So, so now in the New Age movement, the New Cage movement, what you find is these dark reptilians or other dark ETs who, when they're being channeled, they'll give you all this wonderful divine information. It makes you feel so good and fuzzy and warm and nice and cozy. And then they give you the shock of guilt or control or some of the control trip. So they're channeling dark ETs, pretending to be good to control you and steer your awakening into their reptilian cul-de-sac, inverted or massively spiritually bypass masses and mass formation, New Cage movement psychosis. That's what you're here for if you obey some of these gatekeeper About 96% of all the spiritual teachers with millions of followers or subscribers or sell millions of books. I mean, some of them, maybe a tiny percentage of them, are going to give you the truth. Some of these new age gurus with millions of subscribers are just new messiahs. And so it is, forget about taking care of your subconscious. Let go and let live. Forget about the fact that your mind control cult was the greatest intentionally spiritually bypassing cult ever. A Course in Miracles started by a man who was in the Monarch program, written, channeled by a Jewish woman in New York City and her best friend who was in the CIA. And that's why people who are in that will never allow you to ever speak of anything negative, ever. Because if you do, then you're not obeying the rules of the cult, which is to never notice anything wrong, that God doesn't make any mistakes. I read the text of it, 460 pages. There's no such thing as a sin. So, that's how it works in most of these New Age cults. Forget about taking care of your subconscious. Forget about your responsibility to take care of your spiritual needs. Get on your knees and supplicate instead. In the old days, that's what it was. Get on your knees. Some of these Christian sects still do this shit. Get on your knees and pray like a wolf to the wolf master, sheep herder God. He will take care of everything for you. Give him all of your energy together. God is good, and he wants all of your energy. I think about making a video about the zodiac sign Virgo, and this one I know who's a devout follower of this Bible God. And I wish I could say to them, the tarot card is the hermit. I need that part of you that you keep to yourself. I need that part of you that's the hero. I need that part of you that's the hermit that's got to stay away from people. But I have empathy toward it too, because that's the part that God steals, and the archonic voices get in often. And drink Jesus' blood in your symbolic vampire cult. Eat his flesh and drink his blood, because he gave his life for you to sin. Jesus gave his life for you to eat whatever horrible poisons and horribly traumatized game animals that were, GMO or harmed or raised on a farm to be harmed. Jesus died so that you consume all of this harmful sugar and poisonous toxic food to as much of a portion as you want. Jesus died for you to be sinful and rape, to harm people. This is the idea, that Jesus died. He gave and the ritual is you drink his blood and eat his flesh, because he gave his life for you to be sinful, because we're born in sin. This is what Chuck Swindoll Jr. calls orientation with conflict. If you're a Bible thumper, you're oriented toward this fight against reality. Why? Because you're inherently flawed. And why are you inherently born in sin and flawed? Because God needs that to steal, amongst other things, your multidimensional capabilities. Why did they burn the Salem witches? Because, some of them might have actually been doing harmful things like black magic, but about 90% of them were sorcerers, in the sense they were witches. They chose witch. They chose their source. They sourced their thoughts. They might have done magic. They might have been able to be sovereign spiritually, and that's a crime to these fallen gods, because they have to take up all the space. They have to dominate everything. So you see, drink Jesus' blood in your symbolic vampire cult. Tell the priest who loves to have his sick ways with young boys all of your secrets and confession, and he will take your sins away. Because as the Pope said, I am Jesus. The Pope believes, not this Pope, the last one, Pope John Paul, said, I am Jesus. Confess it. Confess it all to your psychologist, and he'll tell you just what to do. But you won't like it. Because if he's worth his salt as a psychologist, he's going to tell you to do something. He's going to tell you to do some shadow work. He's going to tell you to change something about you that's stupid. And you don't want to do that. You want Jesus to do it for you. You want the Pope to do it for you. You want Quetzalcoatl to do it for you. You want Lucifer to take away your sins, to burn down your mansion. So some go to their psychiatrist and get the latest, extremely physically addictive, often petroleum-based concoction designed to take away their pains. While we see with the Freedom of Information Act inserts at the end of the commercials on the legacy mainstream media channels, whoever were forced to watch them in a waiting room or something, and the Freedom of Information Act, ironically, tells you all the ways that it might just kill you explicitly and harm you. Just like Event 201, Lucifer's retarded and magnificently successful takeover and inversion attempts have let the cat out of the bag. I have a solar recharger for my cell phone. You don't need a God in your fully awakened state. He needs you. When you realize what fallen angels are, when you realize what we're dealing with here, folks, and I'm never going to say they're not powerful, and I'm never going to say they don't have tremendous capability for mind control and violence and killing and drinking blood and causing others to do those things, because obviously they do. We know these extremely powerful fallen angels have tried to take these awesomely energized powerhouses that are fractals or images, hologramic reflections of the divine Christ Sophia, we call inspirited human souls. The not NPCs, but the ones of you who are actually still alive, inspirited human souls. And they want to, and they're doing the greatest job ever to convert us into being only batteries on this human energy farm. And worse, Humans 2.0, almost half the population of the world agreeing to be Borg. So ideally, for our junior god vampires, 3D forever. And they really believe this. The transhumanists really believe they're going to live forever and just recycle your spirit into another cyborg, humanoid slave body. You'll never have a soul again if you took all your bees. You're never. You understand what I'm saying? This is their goal. So it's already been explicitly laid out in their books and their plans. And again, this is how spiritually retarded they are morally. They believe that, again, if they announce their plans, it makes it all good, make it seem altruistic. So in all of these cases, we see a similar theme. God must take up and overstand, control, occupy, and ultimately harvest the energy of the fourth, fifth, third, second, and first dimensions. All of the dimensions, Because even if you're in this, if you're a multidimensional person stuck in the 3D, like I could become if I'm not really careful. Because it's wrong, but yet, because he has so much control over whatever dimension where you have a weakness, you see. So this is what they do. They've developed this, again, over millions of years, this energy harvest, soul-sucking loose farm plan. Planet Earth. That's why it's called Planet Earth. The plan of net of the earth. Earth was one of these Anunnaki gods, the original, one of their original gods of the Anunnaki. So you can only be in 3D. Some say we are going through a bifurcation between the second coming of Christ and the Borg, where some people will actually ascend into Christhood. Some ensouled humans will actually become at one with the Most High, the goddess Christ Sophia, the divine resonance energy field of the original prime creator, the real source, and be able to do all, maybe fly out of here, all kinds of things. But those who agreed to become Borg are going to be Borg. So it's just, again, the part of the Mahayana I studied in the Shivaic ancient tantric philosophy of acceptance. As I've said before, we have to accept the unacceptable, this horrendous thing, but it doesn't mean we're going to be physically separate necessarily, beside all the sudden adult death syndromes. So But we might be in the same room or the same town, but you will not communicate with the living dead. The more of a Borg they become, they're only going to be able to take orders because they're a humanoid cyborg, Humans 2.0. It's intense. I know it's intense. They might look like a hippie. They might look like the most radical person ever. But the more they comply with it, the more they think Satan's cool too. They're just going to, the more they obey Lucifer, that's what they become. And if they're not causing openly violence to you or someone else, you kind of just have to allow. What can you do? You can't explain it to them. They've already made their decision. It's sad. There's some people that believe supplements and what spiritual awakening can help, cleanse it out. And then, someone like, say, Dr. Drew, who took it, the shot, but then a whole lot of supplements and, learned a lot that they could, get some or most or all of it out. I don't know. I really don't know. It's all a new thing, so we don't know. I feel like I need to go buy another bottle of nattokinase because I ran out a few days ago, and I just want to be safe. I'm not certain if I got all the spike out. So if the black wizards of the mainstream media or academia program you, they get to use your other dimensions, just like God the Father, just like the patriarchy, the Abrahamic religions. You can't. If you talk about psychic powers to a Bible thumper, what happens? You talk about remote viewing, about intuitive healing. What do you think they're going to think, You're possessed, right? You're a black witch, right? So, if you believe in this Bible God, if you believe in the government and their authority, the scientism death cult, you literally, in any of these iterations of these alien gods, the Anunnakis, again, they're masterful mind. And I'm not going to say it's not masterful, and I'm not trying to compliment them all day, but I mean, look at how many people they hoodwinked. If you're one of the hoodwinked, you're not going to be multidimensional. It's not allowed. Okay, just look at that. That makes this whole video obvious. I'm just reiterating the point. So. If you let the black wizards of the mainstream media or academia program you, they get to use your other dimensions. They get to program and harvest your fourth dimension, fifth dimension, etc. If you are a psychological slave for a narcissist god, you are only his loose supply. This is why learning remote viewing, discernment, deep meditation, and, is threatening to the destroyer angels. Because if you're a master meditator, if you know how to remote view, astral travel, or lucid dream, if you become a master lucid dreamer, you're a threat. Well, especially if you share the wisdom with others, but even just knowing it, even if they think you might share it with a few people, because they're going to lose your energy, because there's a much way higher chance you'll be able to escape you won't go to the fucking white light tunnel. Dream work is forbidden by circumstance in a lot of places in the world, like California. If you're poor because of the fake cost of living, you wouldn't have time. I heard in Spain that they shut everything down and you can take a nap in the afternoon. Well, that'd be a great place for me to go, place for me to move to if I want to learn lucid dreaming, So, because I've had more success with it in the afternoon, taking a nap on the bus, I think sitting up too. And so I could hear my spirit guides speaking to me in the theta state. So, dream work is forbidden by circumstance, like the fake cost of living, through the Dark Lords, black magicians, and many positions of power, the black magic money system. As the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations, ran the lockdown in part. I mean, they did a really good job of convincing everyone. So it seems to them that they've already taken it all. Many of the dark angels are so susceptible to their own narcissistic hubris, really. They think they own everything. They think they own us all. Yeah. So here comes a helicopter to bust me. How about that? So It seems to them that they've already taken it all. Geoengineering is a physicalized version of this dominance, this insane, mad dominance where God, because it's the fifth dimension ether, so God gets, the fake God gets to take up the ether, okay? We can't have, which could easily, if they geoengineer enough to where you have no access to sunlight, we could totally block out all kinds of important things that we need to be multidimensional, as well as just to grow and live and exist and be healthy. So, after all, we are only 3D. If and when we become multidimensional wizards and harmless, respectful junior gods ourselves, we become uncontrollable. As we each reclaim spontaneity, it is real trouble. The more we attain organic ascension mentally, the matrix may collapse on itself. If more than half or 2/3 of the world starts to regain their multidimensional capabilities and become sovereign, then the matrix might collapse on itself at some point. Because, after all, it is all stolen energy, a house of cards, ritual war, and blood sacrifice, and powerful black magic based adrenochrome and black magic, ritual war, energy siphoning based theft on so many levels in a very masterful organizational capacity. Do you have the strength to take back your powers from these masters of deception? If you enjoyed this and you haven't already, make sure to click on the subscribe or follow me on Odyssey or Rumble if you can handle even further painful truths from the micro and macro level. And once again, my friends and family, if you have the courage, create a great day as much as possible, even within this multi-dimensional attack on your capability.